Channel Sports Central, we go over our next team prediction of this offseason. And it's going to be over the Virginia Tech Hokies, a team that was 5-6 overall in the 2020 season. And this was a team that was very questionable going into the 2020 season, and for many reasons. Of course, this is a team that was very active in the transfer portal heading into the 2020 season. And so there was a ton of question marks as to whether or not this team would even get up to 4 wins last season, which overall, not a bad season overall. 5-6, of course, in a crazy COVID year was not a bad year for this Virginia Tech team. But how they be in 2021 is what we'll be going over here today. We're going to go ahead and get started with Virginia Tech's final prediction. We'll be looking at your season trends from 2020, looking back at where this team was last season and where they're going heading into 2021. And once again, this team was 5-6 overall, 3-2 in their first 5 games, 2-4 in the last 6. So this team was pretty consistent with how they were. No major improvements or declines over the course of last season. They beat NC State 45-24. That was probably the signature win of the season for this team. NC State was pretty good last year, and this team completely mauled them. They also beat Duke 30-31. Beat Boston College 40-14. Big win there as well. They also beat Louisville on the road 42-35 and beat Virginia towards the end of the season in December 33-15 in the rivalry matchup there. So overall, not a bad season. Once again, I mean, your 5 wins were pretty good wins last year. It's just kind of unfortunate they ended up losing 6. But this team was capable of a lot more than I expected them to be last season, especially after all the losses that you took after the 2019 season. Looking at your roster preview going to next season, Hendon Hooker is transferring away. He is not going to be the quarterback for the Hokies next season, in which, of course, he's been pretty experienced with Virginia Tech. He was the starter for 2 years for that team, and overall, he played pretty well in 2019. In 2020, his interception ratio wasn't quite as good as 2019, but he was more accurate at the end of the day in 2020. He had 4%, a 4% higher completion rate in 2020 versus 2019. So that's definitely a main positive there. Khalil Herbert, your top running back from last season, will not be back. He's gone. He put up 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns last season, so he did not have a bad season. Hendon Hooker was also a huge rushing quarterback. He put up 600 yards, 9 touchdowns as well. So, of course, Hendon Hooker may have not been the best passer in the world, but, of course, he was a pretty good rusher. I mean, it takes a pretty decent quarterback to rush for 600 yards in a football season, so do not forget that about him. Braxton Burmeister is likely to take over the quarterback position. Last season, he put up 600 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, in a 56% completion rate. So, obviously, those stats do not sound good at first, but I think he definitely has got potential to improve. And for him to have his own time as a starting quarterback now, I mean, he's not splitting time anymore with any other quarterback, which that's not for sure yet. But Braxton Burmeister, I'm pretty sure, will be the primary quarterback for this team next season. But he does have quite a bit of pressure, though, going to next season. I mean, he did put up a 56% completion rate last season, which is a pretty horrendous accuracy rate. So he's definitely got to improve that going to next season. Raheem Black, your second running back in the backfield last season, is coming back. He put up just near 400 yards and 2 touchdowns last season. So his stats were not anywhere close to the level that Khalil Herbert's were last season, but he's definitely a player to watch out for. Tavion Robinson is coming back. Same thing with Trey Turner and James Mitchell. So the receiving core looks great for this team. You got both of your top receivers coming back there. That's going to be huge for this team going to next season. And, I mean, even if you look at James Mitchell, he's a great tight end. Watch out for him. He put up 400 yards last season, 5 touchdowns as well. Tavion Robinson on the flip side put up just over 600 yards, 3 touchdowns. Trey Turner was not far behind him with just right under 600 yards last season. So receiving core looks good. The running back core does have a question mark there with Khalil Herbert leaving. That's kind of a little bit of uncertain, or kind of an uncertain position there going into next season. You do lose Darisaw. That is a big loss there. Of course, he was taken very early in the 2021 NFL draft. He was a huge player for this defensive side last season, and so he's definitely going to be a tough loss there. You also lose 2 defensive linemen, 1 linebacker, and 2 in the secondary. So defensively, this team is taking a lot of hits. That is really where the concern comes in for Virginia Tech. Offensively, this team should be pretty good next season. I mean, I like this team quite a bit on the offensive side of things, but defensively, kind of a different story. I mean, you're going to be pretty young on the defensive side next season. Chance of a bowl season in 2021 for this team. Obviously, Virginia Tech has been kind of that one team in the ACC over the past few years that has been not a champion, but they've been in the background. Like, this team has been a contender in the ACC over the past few years, but overall this team just has not been quite a great team. And this is a team that I definitely think can take the next step. Like, they got the talent here to do so. It's just a matter of when. But chance of a bowl season in 2021, I'd say are pretty good for Virginia Tech. Once again, I like this team a decent amount going to next season. The main question mark is on the defensive side. Looking at your schedule going into next season, of course, you got North Carolina. Tough game there to start off this season. I mean, North Carolina is going to be a national contender next season. Sam Howell, love that team going into next year. So that's going to be a very tough matchup there against North Carolina. You got Middle Tennessee State after that. Then you got West Virginia on the road. You got Richmond as well as your fourth non-conference game. So your non-conference games are pretty tough next year. West Virginia is going to be a pretty good team. Watch out for them in the Big 12. And, of course, North Carolina, as I just said, is also going to be a pretty good team. So your September is not going to be a walk in the park. Middle Tennessee State, that should be a win. Richmond should also be a win. I mean, if you lose both of those games, you're in a really bad position. But otherwise, you also got Notre Dame on the schedule. Don't forget about them. Pittsburgh, Syracuse, Georgia Tech, Boston College, Duke, Miami, and Virginia. You don't have to play Clemson next season, but you got Miami, of course, on the road, which Miami is going to be also a very tough team next season. Derek King, I like them quite a bit. But looking at your September here, North Carolina, once again, tough matchup. That's going to be a very good team next year. You do have them at home, but I think North Carolina does get the win somewhat easily in that matchup. That's going to be, once again, a very good team next season. Then you got Middle Tennessee. That's going to be an easy win. Not expecting too much out of them. And either way, Virginia Tech has got more talent than that team without a doubt. Then you got West Virginia on the road. That's going to be an interesting matchup. Very close matchup. But with it being on the road in West Virginia, I like that team to get up to 7 to 9 wins next season. I'm going to give it to West Virginia. I think they get the win. But once again, very close matchup there. Richmond, then you got them at home. Easy win. Not much to talk about there. You'll be 2-2 heading into your October. As for October, Notre Dame is going to be the only loss. The Fighting Irish are also going to be a pretty good team next season. Jack Cohn, of course, is also he's going to be in the quarterback position for that team next season, and I like him quite a bit. So I'm going to give that game to Notre Dame. It could potentially be a close game. I'm going to give it to them in a couple of touchdowns probably. Pittsburgh, Syracuse, both easy wins. Then you got Georgia Tech on the road. The main reason why that's a close win is just because it's on the road. Georgia Tech should be a pretty beatable team next season, though, for this Virginia Tech team. So you'll be 5-3 heading into November. Not a bad situation. All you need is one game at this point to get to a bowl game. And of course, this is a team that should be getting up to 7 to 8 wins next season. But I do think you get up to 8 next year. I think Boston College is a win. Very close, but I think that you do get the win. Do not sleep on that Boston College team next season, though. Duke is an easy win. Not expecting much out of them. Miami on the road, once again, very tough team there. Derek King, I like them quite a bit. I'm going to go with Miami in that matchup. I think that's just a team that's going to be in a very crucial position at that point. They got to be winning their games, and Miami needs it more. So I'm going to give it to Miami in that matchup. And then, of course, you got Virginia to finish out the season, and you get the win against your rival in a close one. Once again, it's a road game, so it'll probably be pretty close. Possibly low-scoring game as well. We'll have to see what happens there, but that will be a win as well. So 8-4 is going to be your record prediction for next season. Not a bad record. 8-4 overall. That'd be a pretty good situation for Virginia Tech if you can get up to 8 wins next year. But let me know your thoughts and comments below on this Virginia Tech team. I'd like to hear your guys' record predictions and all of that down in the comments. I appreciate you guys all watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you guys later.